tonight is introducing a new book to you. So this would be the beginning of a literature study on the book that I'm going to introduce to you tonight. But I want you to imagine that you have been left on an island and you're the only person that's left. And there's really not much there in that island. The homes that have been there have been destroyed. There's not much in the way of weapons that have been left behind, and there's not food that's readily available, and here you are stuck on this island by yourself, and you're going to be by yourself on this island for 18 years before you're rescued. You keep thinking that the people that left will come back and get you, but they don't. They never come back. And so here you are, just wondering, what am I going to do? So what are some of the things you think you might do first if you've been abandoned on a small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and you have absolutely no way to get away from that island?
Cry. Shelter.
I was like,
Cry would probably be the first thing.
I was let that out first and then start to think more clearly, hopefully.
Yeah.
What else? What were you thinking, Darcy?
Build a shelter.
So how could I find a shelter for myself? Because that's going to be really important to keep her safe.
Could
I catch
survive
rain
Yeah.
so I have
Yes.
something
Yeah.
to drink?
Okay, another one. How do I catch rainwater? Because I'm not going to be able to drink the salt water of the ocean.
Looking for something to eat, or what can I find to survive on?
What have we been eating?
Yeah.
What are our families? What have they been hunting for?
What
So
kind
it's
of
not-
natural resources are available, like, what do you call it, flint or anything like, what is that called to make fire?
Mhm.
Like
Flint.
what kind of, natural resources?
So
Because I
fire
find
is
it
going to be
helpful too.
another
Yeah.
thing that's critical.
Yeah.
We've talked shelter, food, fire, so she has some heat. All of those are going to be critical. Oh, I didn't tell you that there's wild dogs
I
on
was
the
gonna say,
island.
what are the predators on there? What are
Make
the
myself a
bad?
spear.
There's wild dogs on the island that she's going to have to deal with. So shelter's going to be a really important thing that she deals with first of all. All right, I am going to show you some things I have in this box. Since we don't live near the Pacific Ocean, there might be some things in here that might sort of surprise us. In the book, it talks about the paua shells that she finds. And this is a big paua shell, as you can see. And when she finds them, this is what they look like. Really kind of ugly, aren't they? And yet the book talks about her using them as jewels. So, how would she be able to use that as a jewel when it is just corroded by all of the stuff in the ocean?
I'll expose it somehow.
Yeah, there it is.
Use
That's
a
what it
grit.
looks like when the outside is taken off.
Use the grit, use the sand maybe, or a rock or something?
Yeah, she has to
polish it?
chip it off somehow, doesn't she?
Wow, yeah.
I got this in New Zealand, and my husband was going to buy me PowerShell because he knew I wanted it for this. And he couldn't believe I wanted this one. He said, why don't you want one that is all this color? Because this really clarifies what it's like. We could go to the ocean, and we would never pick this up
Right.
because we wouldn't realize how beautiful it is. I also have earrings and a bunch of other things that go with that PowerShell. So that's one of the things that she has. Let's see, here's feathers, because there's black cormorant birds there. And she gathers the feathers from the black cormorants to wear as part of the clothing that she wears. I also have this. What's that?
Sand?
Sand? Yeah. This is from Prince Edward Island. It's not from there. But there would be sandy beaches because she's on the ocean, and so there's sandy beaches. But she's left all alone because there were people that came and said they wanted to trade. They didn't want to trade. They wanted to take all of the things that the seals and all the skin, and not give anything back to the Indian tribe that was there. And so there was a fight, And the Aleuts, which come from Alaska and were getting the seal skins, killed all of the men. Almost, I think there were 1 or 2 left, and everybody else fled the island. Corona was actually on the boat ready to leave when she looked back to the island and saw her brother. And Raymond was younger than her, and she knew that if he was left alone, he wouldn't survive. So she jumped overboard and swam to shore, only to have Raymond killed by wild dogs within just a few days, which left her there. True story, 18 years there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that introduction to this book. What kinds of things did you notice?
You were talking but not giving away the whole book. You were giving us just pieces of the book, trying to engage us into that particular book.
Yep.
I feel like you're helping with vocabulary too. Like when you talked about I can't even remember the
PowerShell.
Yeah. So that helps, which would probably be a tough word as they're reading.
Mhm.
Now they'll know what it is and can visualize.
I think they called it abalone,
Um,
but I would use both if I was actually working with kids.
You tried to put the kids in the character's position. What would you do? What would you need? How would you feel?
To get them to begin empathizing and
Thinking about it.
trying to think about how will I survive. So one of the big things with getting ready for a book study is to think about what are the big ideas in this book. What you should be able to kind of figure out at least 1 or 2 of the big ideas here. What do you think?
Isolation.
Survival.
All of those, absolutely. And so how would we survive if we didn't have what we're normally used to having? Okay, I'm going to show you a little difference now between doing it as a reader workshop introduction. So I said the big ideas were survival, problem solving, and perseverance. Because you're not going to survive unless you have perseverance. The focus of my lessons is going to be, the comprehension focus is going to be on questioning. So I'm going to say to the students that even before I start reading the book, I have questions that I'm curious to have answered. So, like, I know she'll have shelter, but what are the dangers on the island? What type of shelter can she make from the supplies on the island? Does she have the skills to make a shelter? What kind of food is available? What are the possibilities and how will she get it? What is her life like during those 18 years? What does she do each day since she has no TV, radio, books, games, cell phones, and the like? How does she fill her time? So you see how I'm going to be modeling good, deep questions for the kids that I want them to try to find answers to. Okay? Questions? You're going to be doing literature group introductions. I'm going to give you copies of these and then the blank forms that you will use when you make your lessons known. Okay, I'm going to ask, we'll cut that.
Okay.